As a biomedical equipment technician and successful mystery author specializing in medical thrillers, I was researching my next book while repairing a sterilizer at Metro Hospital when my company phone buzzed. "Hello, Emily. What's up?" I asked. "The hospital called. Your son's in the ER. Get there ASAP," she replied, unable to provide details beyond his location at Metro's ER. "Thanks, Emily. I'm heading there now. Just need to finish these sterilizer covers. Tell them I'll be there in 10 minutes if they call again." Reaching the ER, I was initially directed to billing, a frustrating detour. I requested the ER manager instead. After a brief wait, a pleasant young woman appeared. "I'm Lila Jacobs, ER supervisor. Can I help you?" "Yes," I said. "My office called, saying I urgently needed to be here to see my injured son." "You were directed to billing? If this is urgent, why the delay?" she questioned. "Two choices," I stated. "I see my son, or I face court for a false emergency call. Time's ticking." "Mr. she started. "Cole," I replied. "And I'm not calming down. Your hospital called, and they said it was urgent." Miss Jacobs apologized for the seeming lack of empathy and guided me to my son. Doctors were attending to Ethan's cuts and scrapes, initiating tests. He was unconscious, his face and shoulder visibly injured. Nurses and the medical team were cleaning other wounds. The team lead pulled me aside, summarizing Ethan's injuries. A dog had darted in front of his bike while he was cycling home from school. Swerving, he'd crashed, hitting a brick wall when his bike flipped. Injuries were extensive but mostly superficial. His helmet prevented lasting brain damage despite a concussion and unconsciousness. Cuts, scrapes, and road rash needed time to heal. He also suffered a broken wrist, sprained ankle, and dislocated shoulder. However, the bike handlebar had struck his kidney area, reducing kidney function. A transplant might be necessary if it didn't improve within days, prompting the need for a tissue match test. "When can I do the test?" I asked. "As soon as possible," the doctor replied. "We're admitting him for observation. If you test today, we'll be prepared. He'll remain sedated until brain swelling reduces. Other injuries will be treated here before transferring him to intensive care." "Okay, billing next. Doctor, please schedule the test." That day, I was admitted next to Ethan. Tests were scheduled for the morning, requiring fasting. Their reason? If surgery was needed, I'd be readily available. The news that they needed to locate Ethan's biological father was shocking and infuriating. I wasn't a match, nor his sperm donor. Someone was in deep trouble. "My name is Mason Cole. Lila Harper and I were high school sweethearts. At 5'10" and 135 lbs, I was a runner, not a football player. City champion in the 4-mile cross-country and 1-mile track. Lila, like me, was an academic, both in AP classes. I also took vocational courses. I enjoyed fixing things. We met during an athletic tutoring session, helping less academic students pass their courses, one almost failing gym. We discovered mutual interests in books. I enjoyed many fiction genres. We started dating, exchanging books. I took her to prom. She was beautiful. My grandmother's large trust fund meant we went all out. Limo, fancy restaurant, hotel suite. Bullies targeted us at prom, but the jocks stepped in to protect Lila. After prom, we became intimate. My first experience was short, but Lila's reassurance and affection were incredible. We didn't sleep much, but for a virgin, she was incredible. Anal sex was something she'd read about, and she even brought lubricant. We both enjoyed mutual oral sex as well. I entered college as a sophomore. Lila, after testing out of her senior year, joined me as a freshman. She then tested out of all required freshman courses and joined me in many of my classes. My major was English literature, hers, secondary education with an English minor. I aimed for the great American novel. She wanted to teach. We were only apart during her student teaching. I gave her an engagement ring on graduation day. She accepted. We planned our wedding. My trust fund made money no object, but Lila preferred a 50-50 budget and an ironclad prenuptial agreement, to which I agreed. I secretly planned a lavish honeymoon to Tahiti in Australia. She already had a passport, so I surprised her at the airport. First class, celebratory toasts, a glorious 3 weeks. We moved into my grandmother's updated house, furnished by Lila, who surprisingly kept the antiques, updating only the kitchen, bathrooms, and laundry. Lila secured a teaching job, and I started writing. My first book was published when she finished her master's degree. That summer, we celebrated with an Alaskan cruise where she announced her pregnancy. Unsurprising, given we'd stopped using birth control and were intimate frequently. Ethan was born during Christmas, a healthy 8 pounds 4 ounces. Lila then suffered a medical emergency requiring a hysterectomy. Ethan would be our only child. I supplemented my writing income as a medical equipment repair technician. The test results revealed Lila's absence, fueling my rage. Fortunately, Ethan's kidney function returned to normal, and he slowly emerged from sedation. Lila arrived, but I asked the doctor not to reveal the test results to her. I then left, went home, packed, and rented a suite, turning off my phone to think. A week later, I reactivated it to over 50 calls from Lila, plus over 10 from my agent, and 8 from my publisher. My agent's messages mentioned Lila's attempts to locate me. Same from my publisher. I called them back, stating I was fine, but dealing with a personal crisis. I deleted Lila's calls. Driving home that day, several police cars were at my house. Lila had reported me missing. They'd obtained hospital records and suspected her involvement. Upon my arrival, Lila sobbed, rushing to hug me. I stepped away. "When were you going to tell me?" I asked icily. "What do you mean?" she stammered. "Who's Ethan's sperm donor?" "I won't call him father. He's never been part of his son's life," I said. Lila broke down. I then spoke with the police, explained, and promised to come to the station in the morning. I carried Lila to the bedroom and moved my things to the guest suite. She fell asleep. I went to bed, then went to the station in the morning, explaining my actions. Police were angry with Lila but realized she was innocent in filing the report. The house atmosphere was tense. Lila was constantly on edge. After 2 days of this, I exploded. "Who did you sleep with to father your son? How did it happen when you were only at school, the library, and our bed every night? It wasn't immaculate conception. Answer me," Lila cried. "I'm sorry, I didn't know he wasn't yours. It was only with the professor once when I said I was at the library." "Only once? Did I get sloppy seconds? Did I clean up after you? Answer me." Lila fled to the bedroom. I wrote, "Lila, this is formal notification. Divorce is certain unless you answer my questions. 1. Who is Ethan's biological father? 2. How long did your affair last? 3. Was it consensual? 4. When were you going to tell me? Mason Cole. P.S. The prenup stands, plan accordingly. This is my house." Lila acted as if the note didn't exist the next day. I yelled, "Stop! I know you read it. You have 5 minutes to answer or you're out." She sat, retrieved the note. "I'm so sorry, Mason. It was Professor Victor Hayes. It started in the 2nd class. He accused me of plagiarism and threatened to expose me unless I slept with him until I graduated. I'd forgotten to take my birth control pills. When I got pregnant, I told him we were done. He'd lose his job if he complained. He left me alone. You never told me this slimeball was blackmailing you? You valued your degree more than our marriage? I was afraid. I thought he'd stop me from getting my degree. I was scared. Now I'm terrified you'll do something stupid and I'll lose you. I will do something. I'll sue that bastard for child support and ruin him. Our divorce. You said you might not if I got the answers. That's true, except you lied. You said it was once. Now it was almost the whole semester. One time wouldn't result in a pregnancy. Please, Mason, I'll do anything to stay married. Will you lie to me again like you have been doing?" She recoiled. "My God, I have, haven't I?" "You can stay until Ethan is discharged, but leave with him afterward." "Yes." Ethan's return highlighted our fractured family. He finally asked, "Dad, what's wrong? Are you mad at me? Are you and Mom fighting? Is it something I did?" I choked up, yelling for Lila. I sat, staring at Ethan, his confusion hurting me. He was recovering physically, but the emotional wounds were just opening. "Ethan," I said, "there's something I need to tell you about your mom and me." He repeated his questions, clearly worried. "No, Ethan, this isn't about you. This is about your mother and me." Lila arrived, looking frail, Ethan, your mom lied. You're not my biological son. The revelation hung in the air. Ethan's face showed confusion and hurt. He looked at us both. What do you mean? Who's my real dad? I stopped Lila from speaking. Ethan, your real father is Professor Victor Hayes. He's the one who got your mother pregnant. She lied about everything. Ethan's face flushed red, his hands clenched into fists. Mom? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me the truth? Lila trembled. Ethan, I didn't want to lose you. I'm so sorry. He stood, fists shaking. You lied to me, Mom. You lied to both of us. I don't even know who you are anymore. He turned to me, eyes filled with hurt. Dad, why didn't you tell me sooner? I held his shoulders. Ethan, I didn't want to hurt you, but you deserve the truth. He shook his head. I can't believe this. You did this to me. To us? The anger, disappointment, and betrayal were clear. I filed for divorce that day. I couldn't pretend anymore. Lila had betrayed me, but I still cared. We'd been living separately. It wasn't fair to Ethan or me. I requested joint custody. She agreed. Lila slipped into depression. I couldn't ignore it, even knowing what she'd done. I still wanted to help her. The damage was done, though. Victor Hayes was sued. I pursued back child support and compensation for the emotional distress. He lost everything. Leaving the university one day, students confronted him. They beat him up. I wasn't sorry. He deserved it. I moved on. I got 2 German shepherds. I focused on writing, channeling my pain and anger into my work. Writing was my therapy. I was happy, or as happy as I could be. I wasn't letting the past define me. I was moving forward for Ethan, for myself, and for the future. Dear listeners, share your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.